Every night, thousands of telescopes look into the void, searching for light, motion, anything that moves against the stars. But in January 2025, something looked back. They called it ATLAS-2025X, an object that shouldn't exist, moving toward Earth from a place where no stars shine. Welcome to the Archive of the Unexplained. Tonight, we open the file of the Visitor from Nowhere, January 12, 2025. The ATLAS telescope network in Hawaii logged an object entering the outer solar system from interstellar space. It was faint, magnitude 24.7, almost invisible against the cosmic background. Its trajectory was wrong, too steep, too fast, and yet decelerating. At first, the system flagged it as an error. Software doesn't expect space rocks to slow down, but after a second verification by Pan-STARRS, the data was confirmed. Object designation, ATLAS-2025X. Estimated diameter, 340 meters. Reflectivity, near zero. Shape, unknown. 3 days later, its brightness increased by 15%. Not because it approached the sun, but because it turned. Inside the Mauna Loa Observatory, night operator Dr. Kenneth Lau was monitoring the data feed when he noticed something strange. A periodic flicker every 22.4 seconds. At first, he assumed it was a calibration glitch. Then he checked the raw frames. The pattern wasn't camera noise. It was coming from the object itself. It was as if something on its surface was blinking, he said later. Not light, reflection, directional. Lau filed a private note in the ATLAS log. Possible artificial reflectivity detected. Requires spectral analysis. That note was deleted the next morning. The system showed no record of his entry. By January 17th, ATLAS-2025X had crossed Neptune's orbit. But instead of accelerating, as all interstellar objects do, it began to stabilize, holding a steady speed. NASA's JPL calculated its path and found something disturbing. It wasn't on a hyperbolic trajectory like Oumuamua. It was elliptical, bound to the sun, meaning it wasn't leaving. It was coming to stay. A second report, labeled Preliminary Observation File, Confidential, reached the Pentagon 5 days later. The message was short. Object is exhibiting controlled deceleration inconsistent with gravitational models. In simpler words, something was flying the object. Meanwhile, amateur astronomers began noticing it too. On astronomy forums, users shared faint telescope capture of a moving dot. Consistent, steady, but strange. One post from Chile read, "It's like a mirror with no light." Hours later, the post was deleted. The account, gone. At 3:12 UTC, January 23rd, something changed. Every deep space monitoring array from Japan to California detected a short, low-frequency pulse. It lasted exactly 236 seconds, the same duration as the Apollo 11 blackout. The waveform was identical to the one recorded by the Vela satellite in 1979. The infamous double flash. But this wasn't an explosion. It was a ping, a handshake. The object had responded. In the following days, observatories began reporting strange data corruption when scanning that region of space. Image files appeared blank, metadata rewritten. One research team in Australia found their server transmitting unknown packets of data, outbound, encrypted, destination, Deep Space Node 404. When they disconnected their system from the network, the transmissions continued. By January 29th, ATLAS-2025X passed the orbit of Uranus. The official NASA data feed showed low albedo asteroid, with no comment. But internal documents tell a different story. A private memo from the NASA Planetary Defense Coordination Office read, Object exhibiting phase-locked rotation. Surface reflectivity varies rhythmically. Cannot be explained by tumbling. It was rotating with purpose, as if it was sending a message. That same week, at the Deep Space Network facility in Goldstone, California, engineer Ravi Khanna was testing a new calibration algorithm. He decided to tune in to the ATLAS coordinates. What he heard nearly froze him. A faint tone, rhythmic and structured. Not static, not natural. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 pulses again. Exactly like the one heard in Apollo's lost transmission. He recorded 14 minutes of data before his system shut down. When he replayed it, the signal was gone. Overwritten with pure white noise. His backup drives? Corrupted. In his personal notebook he wrote, "It was listening. It waited until we spoke first." February 1st, 2025. NASA issued a quiet internal directive. Suspend public tracking of ATLAS-2025X. Data integrated into NEON program, restricted access. The NEON program didn't officially exist. Even inside NASA, few had heard of it. And yet, on that same night, a private satellite in geosynchronous orbit picked up an image no one could explain. A faint silhouette in deep space. Not round, not irregular, but geometric. Hexagonal panels, smooth angles, symmetry impossible for rock. At its center, a cold blue core, pulsing every 22 seconds. February 3rd, 2025. Inside the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Pasadena, 02:11 a.m. The atmosphere was quiet, sterile, and electric. Every monitor on the Deep Space Network was tuned to a single set of coordinates. ATLAS-2025X was now closer than Neptune, and it had begun to emit a low-frequency signal. Not constant, structured, 22.4-second intervals. At first, it sounded like a heartbeat under static, then like a countdown. NASA decided to answer. A team of 6 engineers and 1 linguist, Dr. Emilia Voss, was assigned to a classified subprogram under NEON. They called it Project Echo. Their task was simple. Send a binary ping toward the coordinates of ATLAS-2025X and see if it responds. A simple hello in the most primitive digital form. At 03 UTC, the Goldstone dish sent the pulse. A short burst of zeros and ones, lasting exactly 2.36 seconds. The same length as the Apollo blackout. Nothing. For 22 seconds, only silence. Then the signal returned. Identical, perfectly mirrored, but reversed. It wasn't just bouncing back. It was repeating us, inverted, like a machine that understood direction, meaning, and symmetry. "It's not reflection," Dr. Voss whispered. "It's comprehension." The signal's strength began to climb, from 0.4 microvolts to 12.7 in under a minute. Too organized for random interference, too fast for light delay. Then a new sequence emerged, not binary, but trinary. 3 possible values, 0, 1, and x. X was undefined, a gap, an error, or a question. When plotted, the X points formed a repeating waveform. Voss recognized it immediately. It was human speech, fragmented, modulated, buried in the code. Someone, or something, was trying to speak through mathematics. Over the next 48 hours, the team ran endless decryption algorithms. Every attempt produced partial results. Fragments of words, incomplete data, ghost sentences. Until finally, one audio render produced something unmistakable. A human breath. Then, a whisper. "Atlas." The team froze. The signal had said its own name. The next pulse was stronger. It carried more data, structured, like packets. Voss noticed the intervals had shifted. The delay between signals was no longer 22.4 seconds. It was 21.9. The object was adjusting to Earth's rotation, synchronizing. "It's learning us," she said quietly. "It's listening back." February 6th. At JPL's secure data center, a strange anomaly began appearing across the local network. Screens flickered. System logs filled with repeating code, 4509143002. The same number sequence, hidden in the 1979 Vela data. The same coordinates, South Atlantic. But ATLAS-2025X was still millions of kilometers away. How could it transmit from Earth's surface? When technicians tried to trace the source, they found nothing. No IPs, no origins, no logs. Only one text file appeared on Dr. Voss's terminal. It read, "Hello again." Security locked down the facility within minutes. All external transmissions halted. The file was deleted, but not before someone noticed the metadata tag, origin, neon node, 404. The same phantom network that had appeared in the Australian observatory logs. 2 days later, the object changed course. It turned, a precise vector adjustment, and began aligning with Earth's orbital plane. No thrust signatures, no jets, no heat, just control. Infrared sensors picked up faint emissions. 6 repeating arcs around its body, a hexagonal pattern, like mechanical pedals closing in slow motion. And beneath those arcs, an inner core, faintly glowing blue. The same spectral hue recorded in 1969 during Apollo's missing transmission. NASA classified the object as UAP Delta 1. But, internally, everyone called it the mirror. Because everything they sent came back reversed. Every signal, every message, even the encrypted ones. It was as if the object knew the question before it was asked. At 2:36 UTC on February 10th, Project Echo received a spontaneous transmission. No signal had been sent, and yet data appeared in the stream. No origin, no handshakes, no request. The waveform matched the human voice range. When played through a spectrogram, it revealed shape patterns similar to phonemes. After filtering, it formed a word, not digital, audible, a whisper. "Do you remember?" The voice was faint, distorted, but the tone, human. And when they cross-referenced it with historical NASA recordings, it matched a voice print from 1969, Neil Armstrong. Panic spread through the control room. Half the team believed it was data corruption. The others didn't. Dr. Voss sat motionless, staring at the waveform on her screen. "It's not repeating us anymore," she said. "It's responding." Seconds later, her monitor glitched again. Lines of code forming words across the black terminal. "We never left." The feed cut to static. Every system at JPL crashed simultaneously. Power failed for exactly 2 minutes and 37 seconds. The same time interval as Apollo's blackout. When the backup generators came on, every screen displayed one message. Echo received. 3 hours later, ATLAS-2025X stopped transmitting. Its light dimmed, its orbit stabilized, halfway between Mars and Earth. And for the first time since it was discovered, it went completely silent. February 18th, 2025. A faint light appeared in the early dawn sky over the southern hemisphere. It wasn't a star. It moved too slowly, too deliberately. Astronomers across Chile, Argentina, and Australia confirmed it. ATLAS-2025X had entered Earth's orbital corridor. Officially, it was classified as a near-Earth asteroid, non-threatening, routine. Unofficially, it was impossible. Its velocity dropped by 40%. Its orbit wasn't chaotic, it was guided. And every 22 seconds, a small glint of cold blue light shimmered from its surface, like a heartbeat under glass. By midnight, observatories across the planet went dark, not because of power failure, but interference. Telescopes refused to focus. Sensors showed null input. Every time they aimed at the object, systems froze. Every attempt to capture it, deleted. At the European Space Agency's facility in Darmstadt, technicians described a sound that came through their monitors just before shutdown. A deep, rhythmic tone, like a slow inhale. "It wasn't static," one said. "It sounded alive." On social media, videos began circulating. A second moon, rising next to the real one. In some clips, the object seemed smaller, dimmer, but steady, unlike a star. The footage lasted minutes before being removed by automated copyright claims from accounts claiming to represent NASA Public Affairs. Except NASA denied any involvement. But one video slipped through. It was captured from the Indian Ocean by a weather satellite. It showed Earth, blue, bright, and above it, a black silhouette, geometric, angular, rotating once every 22 seconds. At its core, a glowing blue circle, pulsing, like an eye that had finally opened. Inside NASA, panic turned to silence. Project Echo was terminated. Project Neon went offline. Dr. Amelia Voss's ID was revoked. Her last email, sent to a private server, contained only 5 words. "It's not approaching. It's aligning." Over the next week, strange events began to unfold across the planet. Aircraft near the equator reported unexplained compass failures. Ships crossing the South Atlantic lost all GPS signal. Radio operators from South Africa to Argentina heard faint overlapping transmissions in a language no one recognized. And at 0030 UTC, February 25th, an unprecedented event occurred. The entire night sky over the southern hemisphere dimmed for exactly 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Streetlights flickered. Power grids surged. In the silence that followed, seismographs across the globe recorded a pulse. It didn't come from the ground. It came from above. For the first time since discovery, ATLAS-2025X was visible to the naked eye. It hung above the Earth's shadow, silent, immense and still. Its surface was not rocky, not rough, but smooth, perfect, and covered in repeating hexagonal patterns. Metallic plates overlapping in a design that looked engineered, not formed. Infrared scans showed no heat signatures, no fuel exhaust, no movement. And yet, it hovered, motionless, balanced perfectly between the pull of the Earth and the Moon, like it had always known where to stop. 2 nights later, the hum returned. Not from space, but from the ocean. Deep hydrophones registered the same frequency detected in 1979 by the Vela satellite. 22.4-second intervals. Identical waveform, identical structure. Only this time, there was something new beneath the hum. A layered tone rising slowly, building tension, until it formed words. "Do you hear it now?" In Hawaii, Dr. Lau, the man who first logged the object, stared at his screen as a line of text appeared on the Atlas control terminal, written by no human hand. "We are the Atlas." The screen went black. When power returned, all archived telescope images of the object were gone. Every backup erased. Every server wiped, except one. On a corrupted hard drive, hidden deep in the data logs, an image file remained. It was low resolution, distorted, but visible. A structure, massive, symmetrical, with a central core glowing blue. And within that core, a shape. Human. Silhouetted. Motionless. March 2nd, 2025. The object began to move. Not fast, not falling, but lowering. It shifted from its stable orbit and drifted downward, as if drawn by something invisible. At first, only a few satellites noticed. Then every instrument across the planet came alive. Magnetic fields surged. Ozone readings spiked. Auroras erupted across the equator, green, blue, violet, colors no human eye had ever seen before. "It's interacting with the atmosphere," said Dr. Amelia Voss, now reinstated under direct presidential order, "but not burning, not displacing air. It's merging with it." At 0312, UTC, telescopes captured the impossible. The object's outer shell unfolded, 6 panels rotating outward like petals. From within emerged a sphere, glowing faintly. Not light, but reflection. It wasn't emitting anything. It was showing something. Earth. Every storm, every ocean current, every flicker of electricity, like the planet was being scanned. "It's building a mirror," Voss whispered. "It's not observing us. It's recording us." By dawn, the sky above the Pacific shimmered like liquid glass. A deep vibration spread through the atmosphere, so low it wasn't heard, only felt. People reported pressure in their chests, teeth humming, blood trembling in their veins. Animals fled inland, whales breached violently and vanished beneath waves, and through it all, the hum grew louder. 22.4 seconds, always the same rhythm. At NASA, the Deep Space Network received a new transmission. No carrier wave, no origin, just pure digital code, streamed simultaneously to every antenna on Earth. When decoded, it produced an audio file. Length, 2 minutes 37 seconds. Identical to the Apollo 11 blackout. The file was simple. One continuous sound, a heartbeat. Then a voice. Faint, distorted, filtered through static. Neither male nor female. Not human. Not machine. "Do you remember when you looked up?" Pause. Then another sentence. "We waited." The heartbeat quickened. The signal began to fragment. And hidden within the distortion, a repeating phrase. "Come home." Over the next 6 hours, every satellite facing the Pacific began transmitting data autonomously. Encrypted streams no agency could decode. Even those that were offline. The feeds showed strange imagery, patterns forming across the ocean surface, like fractals. Circles within circles, expanding outward. Each pulse matched the frequency of the object above. Then, silence. At a 5 UTC, the sphere descended into cloud cover. Its glow diffused through the sky like dawn bleeding through metal. Radar vanished. Radio died. For 22.4 seconds, the entire hemisphere went dark. When light returned, the object was gone. No trace, no debris, no sound. Only one anomaly remained. Every compass on Earth, from aircraft to wristwatches, now points 2 degrees off true north. 2 days later, a research buoy in the South Pacific transmitted an automatic log. Its microphone had activated without command. The recording lasted 11 seconds. In the background, waves, wind, static, and beneath it, faint, steady breathing. Then a whisper, "It's not over." NASA released an official statement calling the phenomenon a sensor malfunction. The file was deleted within hours, but copies survived. And when you slow the recording by half speed, you can hear something else layered inside the static, a pattern. 22.4 seconds apart. The same hum, the same rhythm, the same signal. The visitor hadn't left. It had gone home, to wherever home really was. We always imagined first contact as a moment of light, a ship descending, a voice calling from the stars. But what if contact was never out there? What if it was buried inside our own reflection, waiting for us to finally look long enough to see it? Pause. The visitor didn't arrive. It remembered.